There is nothing worse than watching a movie with too much dialogue. As a writer and as a director, it is your job to make sure that you don't say too much so the audience doesn't know too much. Because if they do, it can end up being a detriment to the entire film. Let me explain. There's a lot of moments where you're in a situation and you and the director are asking the question of, how can we effectively and efficiently tell this story? Because when you're on set and you're like going through these lines and you're doing the blocking, you're getting your angles and you're seeing kind of like the flow of the conversation, you might feel that there's a little bit too much here. We're lingering a little bit. We need to get to the point. Or you might feel like something is missing and we need to kind of beef this thing up because there's more here that we need to explore. And in the rare case, you might get to a point where you're like, you know what, this is kind of cool where we're at. Like, I think we're good. That rarely happens. But the best part of filmmaking is understanding that less is more. And the perfect person to reference and giving a good example of what this looks like is none other than the great Denis Villeneuve and what he did in Sicario. I brought up Sicario because obviously if you've seen this movie, it contains one of the best sequences that we've seen in the 2010s moving forward. It's the border scene. This sequence is probably like 13 minutes long. It's a good amount of time, but it has to at least be 2 to 2.5 pages of like dialogue. Just saying that, it sounds insane because whenever you're writing a script, you kind of go through the motion of understanding that like a page is usually about a minute of a movie. It depends on like whether it's dialogue or whether you're doing a lot of explanation of creating and setting the scene. It varies, but that's kind of like the gist of where everybody kind of keeps everything in line with. And to think that 13 minutes of a movie goes by and you only went through like 2.5 pages of dialogue, it sounds like there's not enough, right? Wrong. This border scene is like the perfect example of what it looks like when you have a phenomenal director who knows how to take a skinny script and bring it to life and establish tension while also moving the story forward through visuals. Because the most important part about this border scene is that if you're not paying attention to what you're seeing, you're missing what's happening. And honestly, I can keep going on and on, but like, let's just cut all the nonsense out. Let's get right into the meat of this thing. Guys, this is a breakdown of the border scene in Denis Villeneuve's Sicario. Let's get to it. So if any of you guys have ever been into Mexico, like via a border entry like myself, you understand that it's very easy getting in, but it's also very difficult getting out. It's like no matter what time of day it is, no matter what day it is, it's always going to be bumper to bumper traffic every single time. So this shot that Denis chose for this is establishing that, like I said, they're not providing any context via dialogue, but he's painting a picture. That's what you're supposed to do as a director. You're painting a picture. You're giving people context even though they may not realize you're giving them context. When you're a director, you have to choose your shots. Whether you're establishing this through lens choice or whether you're doing this through aerial shots versus ground shots versus high shots, low shots, like moving shots, stagnant shots. Like there's so many ways you can do this. So you have to get a little bit creative in when you're establishing the storyline and how do you move the story forward whenever you don't have characters speaking. Because it's easy to go and tell Taylor Sheridan like, yo, can we get a little bit more meat? I kind of want to give a little bit more context. But he understands the type of writer that Taylor is, and he was able to take what Taylor did in such a skinny way and making it like meaty and chunky and fat.
Pause.
By being a visionary. So whenever you see them cross over into the border, that's why they gave you that aerial shot of showing you like, bro, like this route in is cool, but like look at what you're gonna have to go back into on your way out. And this is foreshadowing. If you see the movie, you know. If you know, you know. But if you haven't seen the movie, track with me. This is him showing you the future. Now Denis is establishing the different level of experience of everybody in the car. So when you're looking at Kate is very frantic. Kate is clearly uncomfortable. She's in over her head. And she knows she's in over her head. Whenever the federal police jump in onto the escort, and she's looking out the window and she's seeing all of these federal police officers and the guns that they have and these big armored vehicles, and she's just really like processing like, yo, like what the hell is happening? Like Denny is establishing stakes right now. He is showing you, yes, Kate is inexperienced and she is very uncomfortable right now, but she feels this way because it's warranted. This isn't her just coming up with something in her mind and getting in her own head. Like she understands the danger because this is actually dangerous.
Welcome to Juarez.
Kate looks out and she sees castrated bodies hanging underneath the underpass. This just gave the stamp of approval for the fear that she is feeling right now. And now that Kate is like clearly shaken up, you know, as they get to the prison to get the prisoner and they're getting him into the vehicle, Alejandro takes one of the rare moments of actual dialogue and he communicates to her to kind of calm her a little bit in his own weird, dry way. And he says,
nothing will happen here. If they try anything, it will be at the border.
And now, if you were paying attention to what they were establishing before, you realize like the bumper to bumper traffic going back into the States. So they're already putting a question in your mind like, yo, like if something bad happens, like what are they gonna do? Alejandro also highlights to her, you know, if you want to pay attention to what's going on and keep an eye out, watch for the local police. And there's a moment where all of this kind of flashes before Kate's eyes because she's looking and she sees one in a parallel alley, you know, on a parallel street, you know, through an alleyway as they drive. And next thing you know, the vehicle just disappears. And she starts like frantically looking at like, yo, what the just happened? Like, did anybody just see that? She's like trying to calm herself in a high stress situation. But she understands that like it's getting real spooky out here. Their escort dips off. Now this is establishing you are on your own. There is nobody that's gonna help you until you get to the other side. That is where we are right now. And in case you forgot, Denny decides to go right back to the aerial shot that started this sequence. And he is reminding you that they are sitting ducks. This is a bad situation. If anything goes wrong, they are stuck and they do not have backup. And they do this by giving you a closer aerial shot, but they pan through the traffic to show you how long this line is. Now we are in a very important situation. Now we are going back to experience. We already understand that Kate is in over her head. And we also know that Alejandro and the other guys in the vehicle are experienced and they know what they're doing. But Denny being Denny, he's gonna help you understand this visually so you can not only watch this movie, but experience this movie and this scene specifically. Because you need to understand the tension that is going on in this exact sequence. How does he do this? He chooses his lenses intentionally. What does this mean? This means I'm gonna give you the POV of what it's like for these characters in a high stress situation. Shout out to the guys at Crown Cinema Podcast because they did a great breakdown on this a few months back. But when you look at this and you look at it from Kate's view first, Denny chooses to use a wide shot. Him and the cinematographer decided to go with a wide angle shot. What does this establish? This establishes that as Kate is looking around, Kate does not know what she's looking for. She has no idea what to look for. She's just frantically scanning the area and just hoping she can see something that might seem out of place, even though she doesn't know what's out of place. Now with Alejandro, we have a tight shot. Now we have him looking at specific things. Now he's looking at specific vehicles. Now he's looking at specific people. This is showing you experience. This is a very, very, very important scene. And yet we got no verbal context. Now, as we get into the dialogue, Alejandro highlights a vehicle, but the two men in the front of the vehicle, as he gives the direction, they both look at the same exact time. This is not on accident. This is not a coincidence. This is on purpose. This is showing chemistry in the field. Chemistry that Kate does not belong in. She is the one thing in the equation that is throwing all of it off. And she knows it, and they know it.
the car.
Jesus Christ.
Well, she is so paralyzed in fear, she can't even understand the order, and she can't even bring herself to get out of the vehicle. She's at a boiling point, and now we have a standoff. We have a standoff between Alejandro and the team and these gang members. And if you have seen this movie, then you know what happens next.
Quiere morir.
She finally breaks that boiling point, and she says what she's been thinking this entire time.
What are we doing?
Shootout happens, threats are neutralized, but Denny being Denny, I cannot establish a possible threat without also following through on what that threat looks like. Before, we already reference local police, and we also reference corrupt officers. We get a surprise guy out of nowhere getting ready to shoot Kate. Kate fires back.
Right clear. Don't look at me. Put your hands on your head. No. Put your hands on your head. Put your hands on your head. Clear. I got this. Go.
Just as you think that it's all over, Denny does one last thing, one last point that to us, to Americans, we look at this scene and we think of it as complete utter chaos of just disgusting violence, right? But he's also establishing to us that to the citizens in Mexico, to the border patrol agents and the people who frequent the border and work within the border, that to them, this is just another day. This is how you establish a story and progress character development through a sequence with using very little to no dialogue. Denny Villanueva, you're a freaking GOAT. And this was an absolute masterclass on directing.